Welcome back, drawing buddies. This week we're going to draw Chibi Daredevil from pencils to inks to colors. That sounds like a good way to spend 13 minutes or so. Then let's draw. Daredevil's first appearance was in Daredevil number 1, 1963. It's also the first appearance of Karen Page and Foggy Nelson and, the supporting cast and whatnot. Daredevil, I said this in the Daredevil video, and I think I said this in the last video because I was talking about dates and stuff. No, it was the Thor video. But Daredevil, he was supposed to be released in 1963. Marvel, they had this whole, they had a bunch of success with the Fantastic Four and with Spider-Man. Not so much the Hulk, he got canceled after 6 issues. But they wanted to launch some more characters. So Stan said, we'll do another team book to complement the Fantastic Four, and we'll do another swashbuckling hero like Spider-Man. That's my best Stan Lee impression. That's all you're getting. So he created Daredevil, a blind lawyer, and with radar sense and the echolocation things. And he hired Bill Everett to do the art. The problem is Bill Everett, while a great artist, he's kind of slow. He took his time and he was gonna seriously miss his deadline. So Stan, in a panic, he said, we'll take characters we already got. We'll take Thor, the Hulk, Ant-Man, Wasp, Iron Man, and I think that's it. And we're gonna make another team book. And I'll have Jack Kirby draw it, because Jack Kirby could draw a book in like 3 days if he had to. Probably really a week or so. Man was a machine. And that's how the Avengers were born, and the Avengers took Daredevil's 1963 spot. And then Daredevil, he got pushed to 1964 when Bill Everett finally finished the book, and I don't even think he did the second issue, or did he? He might have done the first 4, because after that Wally Wood took over. And Wally Wood, he's probably one of my favorite Silver Age artists, but he doesn't get a lot of love because he didn't do a lot of work. And he took over Daredevil. And number 5, I think the issue with the Matador, first appearance of the Matador. And he changed Daredevil's chest logo from 1D to 2 Ds. And then after that, he's like, this yellow and black thing ain't working for me. So in issue 7, he redesigned Daredevil's suit to the classic straight up red that we all know and love today. The first issue, he fights Submariner, a character way out of Daredevil's league. In fact, Submariner just beats the crap out of him the whole issue, but Daredevil doesn't give up, and he keeps coming back for more and back for more. And the Submariner's like, man, this dude's resilient. He doesn't give up. So Submariner just kind of said, all right, man, you win. I'll leave. You're a cool dude, and we'll leave it at that. So Submariner didn't leave because Daredevil beat him. He just left because Daredevil wouldn't give up. Then, of course, the next issue is the first appearance of the Stilt Man, one of the most ridiculous and cool villains Daredevil has. Now, I don't remember how many issues Wally Wood actually did. I want to say he did up to issue 10 or 15 or something like that. But he ended up quitting because I mentioned this in, I think, the Thor video too. They used to work in the Marvel house style. So Stan Lee, or whoever the writer was, I think it was mostly Stan Lee, would just give a 1-page outline of what the story was going to be. Okay, Daredevil meets Namor, Daredevil fights Namor, Namor leaves. And, it was a little, hold on, the pencils are done. It's time to ink Chibi Daredevil. Man, these quick videos, they go by so fast. I'm probably going to end up halfway through a story when it's over. But yeah, so they worked in the house style. So Stan Lee, he would give a script to the artist, outline, like a 1-page outline with basic plot details, and that's pretty much it. So then the artist, he would have to take that 1 page and lay it out into 22 full pages and add all the story beats in the middle and whatnot. And then they would give they'd give the pencil art back to the writer, and the writer would go through it and he'd say, okay, this is that, and that. And he'd put in the dialogue, and he'd put in the little, thought balloons and the appropriate text to tell the story. And the way that worked is that the artist did just as much work as the writer, if not more, because the writer, he came up with a plot and the basic idea, but then the artist had to go in there and flesh it out and turn it into something. like I said with the Silver Surfer, I'm pretty sure this is a true story, that Stan Lee didn't include the Surfer in the Galactus story. That Jack Kirby added that because he thought it was necessary to tell the story. And then Stan worked around that because it was obviously a good idea and made it work. So Wally Wood was doing this with Stan Lee, and he wanted writing credits, and he wanted to get paid for his contribution to writing. And Marvel's like, nah, that's not how we do it here, buddy. And Wally Wood just got disillusioned, and he's like, well, screw this. And he quit. And the problem with Wally Wood was he kind of felt unappreciated in the industry. And it led to him being a little difficult to work with and not doing a lot of work because he just was really disillusioned with the comic industry. Like with Power Girl last week, he was the inker on that book, All-Star Comics, and he was like, nobody's paying attention to my work, and I'm going to prove it. So every issue, when he was inking the pencils, he made Power Girl's chest a bit bigger, and he's like, nobody's going to notice. This is going to get ridiculous. And he just kept doing it, and it took 7 or 8 issues for one of the editors to say, hey, man, what's up with Power Girl's chest? It keeps getting bigger. And then where the editor noticed it, that's where they stopped increasing the size of her bosom. And that's why Power Girl got the big chest and the boob window and all that stuff, because Wally Wood felt unappreciated. But it also created a pretty iconic character out of it, because Power Girl's obviously a lot more than her chest. And we talked about that in the last video, so we won't get into it some more. I started reading Daredevil in the 80s with John Romita Jr.'s run. So I know he gets a lot of flack these days from internet comic freaking review people, because he definitely is an acquired taste in the art realm. But back then, man, he was like, holy crap, this dude, he was different. And it was really sketchy and free, and I really loved that art style. And I never was able to really replicate it and work it into things that I do. But man, did I love it. And it was written by Ann Naceti. I'm going to butcher her name. I never got it right. So we'll just leave it at what I said. And just some cool things happen in those stories. Like Daredevil got disillusioned, then he decided to like roam the country, kung fu style. That's a David Carradine show from the 70s where he just kind of wandered around and ended up in, what did he end up in? He ended up in situations where, he had to help people along the way. And Daredevil sort of did that kind of thing. And he was in the woods, and he was with one of the Inhumans. What was his name? The one with the hooves. And his power is that he could tell, he could find people's weaknesses. What is his name? I gotta look it up, sorry. I decided to look it up, and then his name popped into my head. It's Gorgon. And Gorgon and Daredevil are in the woods. I haven't read it in a while, so don't ask me the specifics of it. And for some reason, Ultron shows up. And Daredevil gets into a fight with Ultron. And you think, Daredevil's going to get his butt whooped because Ultron fights freaking the Avengers on the regular. And he gives him a good fight. He brings it down to the wire most of the times. I don't know if this was a full version of Ultron, if it was a faulty version of Ultron, because like I said, I haven't read it in forever. But Daredevil basically starts fighting him with a stick. But Gorgon is there, and he's telling him exactly where to hit him. So Daredevil hits Ultron in all the right places, and he beats Ultron with a stick. So ever since then, when I hear Ultron, the big bad villain, Ultron could do this, Ultron could do that, I just kind of laugh. I'm like, Daredevil beat the dude with a stick because somebody told him where to hit him. So, he hit him in joints and things like that. So like, whatever. So I never took Ultron as a major threat, even in the Avengers movie when he popped up and all that stuff. So, and here I put shades on the window. It's something that I've done in the past a lot of times, and I should be doing in more drawings when I do windows because it looks really cool. I stole it from Frank Miller, Sin City. So yeah, you'll be seeing me put blinds in more windows now that I remember that it's a cool thing to do, and you just gotta draw a bunch of straight lines across the window and then add the lighting. Oh, now the inks are done. It's time to color Chibi Daredevil. There's also an issue in that run where Daredevil, I think he fights the Silver Surfer, but I don't know what happened there. I'm sure he lost that one. I'm going to have to reread it. I just remember the cover because the Surfer's really graphic and flying towards Daredevil on the cover, and it's super cool. So I'll be doing another Daredevil video probably this year in the summertime because he's my favorite, and I always want an excuse to draw Daredevil, and I didn't really draw a very dynamic Daredevil on my second video, which was Daredevil, even though I do like the drawing. So we will revisit my buddy Matt Murdock again. Plus, I could talk about him for days. And the best part, well, not the best part, but another really cool part about that John Romita Jr. and Niacente run on Daredevil was when he gets back to New York, it just happens to be in the middle of the X-Men storyline. Inferno, not Fall of the Mutants, it was Inferno. And basically Madeline Pryor unleashes hell on New York, and the X-Men have to stop her and all this stuff. And Daredevil, he's just roaming through the streets. He's all battered and beat up from his trip. I think he has a cast, and his costume's all ripped. And he just wants a frickin' chill. But demons are coming out of buses, and buses are turned into demons, and he gets attacked by a mailbox that turns into a demon. And I think it's a pretty silent issue. I don't think there's any dialogue in it. And he's just fighting his way through the city, one problem at a time, until finally he just gets to where he wants to go, and it's just a bar. He just wanted to chill out and have a beer because he's had a rough few months traveling the country and doing his thing. And I thought that was a great issue too, so you should read that. And they also have a really great Punisher crossover in that run. It actually runs 2 issues. One issue is Daredevil, and one issue is Punisher War Journal, which was drawn by Walt Portatio. So the art in that one is phenomenal. He started to draw that after Jim Lee. And it's the same story, but the Punisher one's told by the Punisher's perspective, and the other one is told by Daredevil's perspective. And it's a guy poisoning aspirin because it was a big topic back then. And Punisher gets to him first, and he's beating the crap out of him. And Daredevil's like, no, that's not how we do this. You're not killing this man. And Daredevil beats the living crap out of the Punisher. Because it shows, back in the 80s, they treated the Punisher the way he was. He was just a Marine who killed people. So he was no match for somebody like Daredevil or Wolverine, even though somehow he fought Wolverine to a stalemate. And Daredevil just whips the crap out of him. And he basically tells him at the end, he's like, listen, Frank, if I see you again, we're going to have a serious talk. And Daredevil just left the Punisher in a beaten, bloody pulp. And that's it. Here we go. Chibi Daredevil is finished. Thanks for following along. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Go out and draw something. Have a good week, and I'll see you Friday.